1 year with that. That is my Gen 2 Rivian R1S, and I want to go over everything I love, hate, and want to be fixed with it, and just my overall thoughts about having this awesome car for 1 year. This might be a little beefy one. Won't be able to hit, Kyle time, but this will be longer than any of my videos I've done in the past, so hope you guys enjoy. So, this is my 2025 Rivian R1S. This is actually the same spot I recorded my first ever YouTube video, which was actually on this car as well. I literally filmed it right here and opened it the same way. But yeah, I have a lot of thoughts about this car. Overall, I love it. It's been super fun to have for, we're actually at about 14 months with it. So a little bit over a year. I just got detailed for the video, but unfortunately sprinklers hit it, so sad day. But jokes aside, I love this thing. So let's start with the specs. Let's start with what's on paper. This is a 2025 R1S Gen 2. So this is their refreshed version. I have Glacier White exterior, Ocean Coast interior, and the 22-inch Aero wheels, which are, in my opinion, and factually, the best wheels ever made for Rivian. These do improve range, obviously, but I honestly just got them because of the looks. I'll walk you through more details about the wheels and everything else. Configuration for powertrain. I have dual motor configuration, non-performance, unfortunately. I want performance, but the reason I didn't get that is because of my battery pack, which is the Large Plus. Large Plus is a short production run of max packs that were software locked to behave as a large, with a little bit more capacity than a large, actual large battery. And because of that, I can charge to 100% every day and not worry about degradation at all, because it's probably using more or less 80 to 90% of the pack when charged at 100, so it works perfectly fine. It's about 120 kilowatt hours, I think, compared to the 141 that the max pack can have when unlocked. And I should be able to software unlock this in the future as well. Will I? Not sure. I'll get to that in a little bit. But the pack itself has been fantastic, and it charges wonderfully. Apart from that, other specs we got Rivian Premium Audio. That's a whole other story, so that will be a pretty deep dive in a little bit. Bright package. Originally ordered with dark package as well, the dark out package, but again, till I could secure that Large Plus pack that was in inventory, I had to sacrifice a few of the things I put on my custom order to get this one from the R1 shop. And overall, I am glad I did. Even from the design standpoint, the bright package, the chrome and stuff like that actually goes very well with the arrows, so I'm actually glad in hindsight that I didn't get dark out, though I might sometime in the future. So that's pretty much the build. Have roof racks courtesy of Jose from Rivian Tracker. And yeah, so let's start with what I like about the car. Number one, it looks amazing. It's one of the most photogenic cars I've ever seen. Any angle, it looks good. You can take photos of it, take videos of it. He just looks amazing, and he knows it. Look at that face. He knows he looks awesome. This build specifically I love because the white perfectly complements the arrows. The arrows perfectly complement the bright package. It's all just one great all-in-one solution. And compared to some cars, like some angles looks kind of ugly, every angle of this car looks amazing. Every single angle. So yeah, looks apartment, of course, A+. Let's talk about traveling with it. So daily driving has been awesome, and it's a fantastic road tripper. I recently did a road trip to Pensacola, Florida. About 7-hour drive from here in Orlando, and it was a breeze, honestly. Both manually driving and using the successor to Rivian Driver Plus, which is their Rivian autonomy platform, and it has hands-free. Hands-free has been great. It does have a bit of trouble detecting my eyes sometimes. Like, it'll be perfectly well-lit day, no sun in my face, no glasses. I'm looking at the road, and it's like, keep your eyes on the road. I'm like, what do you mean? I'm looking at the road. And so it does that a few times. But apart from that, it has a little bit of issues on certain highways that it's pre-mapped to use. It'll just be like, put your hands on the wheel, and then after a mile, it's like, okay, you're good now. And it's repeatable. The same strips of highway do that same thing. So it seems to be a location-based glitch that I think they're working on. So drive's fantastic. Off-road's even better. I have road tires, like just flat out Pirelli summer tires, and even these things off-road fantastic. Part of it's because I'm a well-experienced off-roader, but you raise the suspension, you throw it in the all-terrain mode or whatever it's called, and it will go. I did some runs in the sand, and like sand, not sand dunes, we didn't have dunes here, but a bunch of sand. Did some runs in the mud and the gravel. This thing goes anywhere. You raise that suspension, it goes whoop, and then you're good. Ground clearance is not an issue. And speaking of ground clearance, one of the things I want to add here soon, running boards. Something I'm really surprised Rivian has not debuted yet. Like seriously, running boards are on almost maybe 1 out of 3 Rivians I see now. I see them with aftermarket running boards. They should totally make first-party running boards on here. And the reason I want them so bad are, well, there are 2 reasons. 1, they look awesome. And 2, my mom needs them. For the less tall individuals, even in kneel, it's not the lowest. It works for most, but unfortunately my mom needs a little bit more help. And it would be great if they had OA running boards, so I could use referral points for that, but I'll probably just have to get some third parties for now. And all the third-party options are pretty good. They have both regular step rails and rock sliders, and some people even make power ones. I believe Isaiah, you've seen him on the channel a few times, Rivian Updates. I believe he has some power deployable running boards in his R1T. So definitely a lot of options there. So let's pivot to service now. I've had a pretty good experience overall with service. Had to go only a couple times, and all those, or both of those times, are kind of edge cases, I'd say, or less likely scenarios that shouldn't happen to the majority of owners. Number 1, this was wrapped delivery. Number 1, my steering rack, the steering wheel, it was squeaking. So this is after delivery. I was driving home and I was parking. I hear it go every time I turn the wheel. It sounded like it needs some lubrication. They promptly just replaced the whole steering rack, which I was like, okay, sure. So that was done. And most recently, I technically had 3 service visits, but the second one was a mobile visit, and it was the 7,500 mile. Okay, thanks for locking. My 7,500 mile checkup, rotate the tires, do a few other things. I believe they checked the alignment. I don't know if they can do that mobile. They did other stuff. I cannot remember. I was working, so I couldn't sit out there and watch. But yeah, they did that by drive, which is pretty cool. Only slight hiccup there. The service person was working on the tire pressures, I assume. He deflated one of my tires, and in doing so, he forgot to reinflate it afterwards. And so when I got in the car later on that day and drove, it was showing it like 20 psi, and that was not good. I originally thought there was a hole in it from the service, and they may have punctured it. It turns out he just forgot to refill it. But thankfully, I have an emergency compressor in the front, so I used that, filled it back up, and I was all good to go. If I remember right, it was the right rear tire, if I recall. So, third service visit, this one is a more recent one. They actually had to replace my entire HVAC system. Not for anything functional, more so because of an issue with Florida humidity. There was mildew growth in the HVAC system. Now, this is not a fault to Rivian, it's more of an issue with HVAC systems for EVs overall, because most of the times, more often than not, when you turn off the AC in an EV compared to a gas car, there is no draft of air at all. You turn off in a gas car, there's still a little bit of draft in the air, they've entered still open, there's still some air coming through just a little bit due to the engine. EVs, when you turn off the AC, and more often than not, it will completely close up the system, and there's no engine to keep a small draft going, no fan, no nothing. It's completely closed, and it seals whatever's inside there. Typically not an issue, but in Florida's case, it can pose an issue because they are so moist, you let it sit in there, and you got growth. It's not an issue just with cars either. It happens to nearly everything here in Florida, including houses. It's very annoying. I mean, it's bad. But they promptly fixed it, replaced the whole thing, which was great, and I'm on my way again. So like the service experience itself is great. The only issue that I have with service isn't the actual service itself, it's what I have to do in the meantime while I'm getting my car worked on, and it has to do with loaners, or in my case, a lack thereof. So it's a rare it's not a common occurrence, so it's not a big deal. But for people like me, it is a big deal. So if you are not 25 or older, you cannot have a Rivian loaner, even if you own a Rivian yourself. So both times I took my vehicle in, they couldn't give me an R1 loaner, and instead I had to go to Enterprise to get a rental, and both of those rentals were not good. The first one being the worst of the two, a Jeep Grand Cherokee 4xe, the hybrid, and not only did it ride terribly and almost cause an accident because it started regenerating when I was accelerating, it was also under a recall for a fire risk, and I had to park it outside, which I wasn't aware of until a friend told me. So that was interesting. Second loaner was like a Ford Edge or something like that. It wasn't the worst, but wasn't a Rivian, you know. So it'd be nice if if I have a Rivian, I should be able to at least get a Rivian while my Rivian is being serviced at Rivian. Come on. So slight rant aside, that's pretty much the only issue I have with service. Overall, it's been a 5-star job. Even service times haven't been the worst. The wait times were pretty bad, but they recently opened a huge center here now in addition to the original one, and I think times have dropped significantly. So good sign. They also have increased their loaner fleet, which is great for people who can get them. Anyway, so that's service. I have to go there soon for another small thing, and by small I mean that hole right there. That is a sensor that was there. You can see it there on the right side, or the left side of it technically. This side was pushed in. It's somewhere in the bumper right now, and that was due to a couple weeks ago. I was driving home after camping in Camp Canaveral with the test loaders of Florida. I took the Lightning out there with the Coleman. You guys seen that set up on his channel before as well. Lightning powered Coleman. And Mom came out in the R1S to take a look at the scenery. Well, on the way back, I was in front, pretend my truck is right there, Ford Lightning with a King Ranch wrap in a Coleman. Anyway, I was right there, and in front of me, about 3 cars ahead of me, a truck blew a tire, and that tire promptly came off the truck, of course, and onto the road. None of the cars swerved out the way until the last car swerved the last second, so I had no idea. I couldn't see anything until they moved at like 50 feet before it hit my truck. So it hit the Lightning, it kind of grazed it, went under the car, went under the camper, and then hit the Rivian, which was behind me, driven by my mom. The Rivian was in low because on the highway it automatically drops to low for efficiency, which is really good. Well, good in some ways, not good for your tires or your CV shafts, but for efficiency it's good. So that's what it was set to. And unfortunately, it was a big old tire. It was a truck tire, and so came here, absolutely slapped the front of the car. It even left some damage on the skid plate right here, but we got that kind of buffed out, which is nice. You can see some of it right there still. But there's a huge just black spot here, and then the sensor is now somewhere in here. Yes, there it is. You can see it. It's right there. So gonna have to get that worked on. But that'll be another service visit that I'll be doing soon, thanks to that tire. But yeah, service overall, pretty good. No complaints apart from loaners, or at least give me better rentals. Alright, what's next? Let's talk about the interior. So I'm a huge fan of Rivian's interior, and the interior space and the design was actually about maybe 50%, if not more, of my decision in getting a Rivian. But before I got this, I was cross-shopping it with 3 main vehicles. Well, a total of 3 main vehicles, including this. It was R1S, F-150 Lightning, which I now have, and Tesla Model X. I wanted Model X because sound system is superior. It's familiar to the Model 3 I was driving back then. It's cool, but I need space. I am carrying a lot of people and very often here. I need all 3 rows very often, and the Model X, well, it has 3 rows. That's about it. Do you want cargo space and 3 rows? No. Do you want 3 rows for all adults? Not really. This has both. So this is what I went with, and man, I love it. Unlock. Unlock. Hello. Unlock. 1 second. Unlock. You could do it. There it is. See, that's one of the complaints I have that I'll get to in a bit. The lag. for a phone key. But yeah, so this is the interior. Ocean Coast interior. I did not get the electrochromatic roof. Part of me regrets that, but this shade does perfectly fine. Ocean Coast looks fantastic. The display is great. It's ample space through all rows. Great leg room. The seats are just so good. You can do this. You can press the button, and then you press the button, and it kicks up front. You have very nice seating in the back. And quick note, while sitting back here, I'd actually, one of the road trips I took in this, I decided to sit in the back while a relative drove to see just how well it is. And my gosh, the rear suspension, it puts you to sleep. Like, genuinely, I was asleep within minutes, and it takes me a while to fall asleep on car rides sometimes. But it is good. Great space, great headroom. You have your own personal glass roof here. Windows with fresh sprinkler system marks on the glass. And what's cool about this one, this being a pretty early Gen 2 build, this was built in July 2024, it actually has some elements of Gen 1 adventure trim, because Gen 2 actually stripped away some of the additional features of Gen 1, like the Alcantara headliner. This is only found on Ascent, I believe, but because I guess they had an early version, they hadn't phased it out yet. They phased it out very shortly after. So I have a luxurious Alcantara headliner, even though I don't have the Trimax or Quad. In addition to that, I have these little cubbies here. These also are gone for adventure trim, I believe, and Gen 2. And I have storage. I can store stuff. It also has a USB-C port right here. And I have a cable that's there that I use sometimes too. And that's on both sides. So I thought that's pretty cool. A few different elements that were on Gen 1 are not on Gen 2 adventure trim. But I have them, so I have a special one. In addition to my special battery pack. But interior is fantastic. Seats are very comfortable. Some of the most comfortable I've sat in, although the Ascent trim has a different stitching, kind of more flat plaid stitching, if you will, and it's a lot better. I think just the physics of that stitching are better, although there might be a different material maybe, but it definitely feels softer than this. But this still feels great, especially in the front seats. But back here, I could sit here and fall asleep easily. And there's great leg room. The front seat's already pretty far. Good leg room. Space for my knees. That seat is in the exit position, so it's all the way back, and I still have ample room. This is with the seats all the way back as well, from a forward-backward standpoint, and I usually have them leaned all the way back because, I don't know. So, apart from that, one quick note, the AC is really good, but it takes a little bit to load sometimes. I'll hit the AC button, it's like, okay, 5 seconds. But apart from that, it's great. Let's talk about the screen for a bit, the infotainment in general, and we'll cap that part off with the audio. That's going to be a big one. So, I love the new UI. This new UI came out right around the time of Gen 2 came out, I believe. They made like a cell shading type of design. It looks so cool. I have all the controls here. I am at a little over 17,000 miles so far. So, absolutely loving this thing. I hope to put many more miles on it within my lease. And yeah, all the controls are here, suspension, everything. I am not driving, so it won't let me. If I can use this roll of paper towels here. I can press the brake pedal. Now I have access. Haha. So for those who don't know, all the drive modes reside here. You have more depending on which configuration you have. I have just a regular dual motor, so I don't have sport mode, or launch mode, or launch, whatever it's called. I am unfortunately too broke to have that one, so I don't know what it's called. But yeah, suspension height here. You can set to auto. That's how I was talking about earlier when it automatically drops. But just disable again because I'm not sitting there. But oh well. Ride and feel. You can have soft, moderate, and firm, I believe. Regen, always keep on high. Great for one pedal, although it's a bit touchy in all modes. Pretty much, it's an interesting one pedal experience. Definitely has a learning curve. And stability. Now, stability is an interesting one. Not because it's unstable, because I would like to use both my motors. It is a dual motor configuration, and I have one motor in the front of the vehicle and one motor in the back of the vehicle. Now, with the dual motor configuration, specifically the non-performance one, but the performance one does it too when it's not in sport mode, it only uses the front for about 99% of the driving. It will only engage the rear clutch when accelerating. Other than that, it's basically a front-wheel drive vehicle. It's phenomenal for efficiency, but for regular day, everyday driving, I don't really need to get 2.7 miles per kilowatt hour. I want both my motors. So when I want to pass a car, it's not stuttering every time. So I'm hoping we get that. I've complained about that on the interwebs pretty often, and I believe Kyle has also said similar. So I'm hoping we get a way to do that. And the reason Stability brought that up is because you can do that in a roundabout way. If you turn off Stability, which I did press the brake pedal again, but if you turn off Stability, it will actually engage the rear motor. You can also turn it on by going into all-terrain mode or turning into snow mode. Both of those will also activate the rear motor. But honestly, instead of doing that in workarounds, we should be able to have the same setup that Trimax and quad motors have, where you have all-purpose, conserve, and then the other two. All-purpose, conserve, sport, etc. Conserve is what the Trimax and quads have, where it will also switch to only front-wheel drive, which is fantastic for road tripping, but it's not on by default. That's the kicker. It should be the same for here. I love efficiency, but I'd like to have both my motors on by default versus it being only front-wheel drive by default and having to reset that every time I get in the vehicle. It should just be all-purpose, both motors, conserve, one motor, and call it a day. So, Rivian, if you're watching, please do that. I paid for both motors. I want to use both motors. All right. So that's basically infotainment. Maps are great. Driver display is fantastic. I love that. I still wish Tesla Model 3s and Ys had that. There's a fly in here. Oh, well, I'll get him out later. All right. Audio. So for Gen 2, Rivian has two versions of audio now. They have Rivian Audio, or Standard Audio, whatever it's called. Then they have Rivian Premium Audio. Premium Audio being what I got here because I'm an audio engineer and I need the best of the best. Now, what I didn't know when ordering this is that when I ordered what I thought was the best of the best, it's really just the best of the worst. So it's the better out of the two, but not by a lot, and it's very, very low standards. Early on, I had very bad issues with it. The sound system would obviously work, but there's no bass, no high range, and the top speakers up there just were not working. They were literally turned off, it seemed like, until an update by last December or something like that. So all I was hearing were mids coming out of this thing and that thing. I hardly even heard ones from these drivers here. And it was all super muddy. Bass is trying to come out of here. It even has, if you walk back here with me, you join me in the rear of the vehicle, it has a dedicated subwoofer. And it's literally not utilized. It was basically not utilized at all for when I first got it, and now it's just barely being used. To where it seems like maybe it's a hardware issue, not powerful enough. Same, binned parts from R1T maybe, not sure, but whatever it is, it's unacceptable. They need to fix this. It's gotten better over time, thanks to software updates, thank goodness. But even then, every time I get in another vehicle, I'm like, oh wow, it actually sounds good. This has, I think, a 15 or 17 speaker setup, or 18 speakers, one of those 3 integers. Meanwhile, the speaker setup for the Lightning, I just have the standard B&O sound system in my flash. Only 8 speakers, I think, maybe even just 7 speakers. And that runs circles around this thing. And it's pretty frustrating because I'd love to drive this car. I'd love to have this car at all times. And I put on the music and I'm like, ugh. And that's why I honestly start driving the Lightning more than this, because music really makes the drive for me as an audio guy. And if it doesn't sound good, I'm not going to enjoy the drive nearly as much, which is why I drive the Lightning more. The Tesla also, it was night and day coming from this. So, yes, audio needs work. In the back seat, and I did a whole deep dive on this already, one of my first videos for Spec. The back seat is even worse. You can hear stuff, but it's very muffled. Those speakers in the door are trying. These ones are trying the hardest, and the door speakers are still doing too much. In the third row, it's no good. It's gotten better. Again, it's improved, but it's not nearly there. It's not nearly acceptable yet for such an expensive vehicle. Not to mention, I paid extra for a premium sound system. A Chevy Cruze sounds better than this, guys. So premium is not really in the room with us here. So I'm hoping that changes. I'm thinking, honestly, as an audio engineer, I think it might be just a hardware issue. I hope they change that going forward and retrofit for this one, because I'm not sure how much software tuning they can do to fix this. Replace the subwoofer with an actual subwoofer, replace the speakers with something that actually sound good. I mean, hardware wise, they seem like very capable drivers. I think they are. So I really think it's just it could be software tuning. I'll give it that. It could be software, but honestly, at this rate, I really do hope that they fix it one way or another, especially for people who paid for this. We need different, a Porsche. We need different sound ASAP. Now, rant done. A few things I do like from the Gen 2 specifically. Have this nice light bar here, like a sub light bar where it has like addressable colored and lighting. You can use it for blinkers and for certain like things for Halloween or Christmas and stuff. They'll do certain little things with the lights, which is pretty cool. Apart from that, it's still a good car. The audio is really the only thing that bothers me. Audio and the laggy phone key, which you saw earlier. I'll be walking from the store, I walk in, and it stays locked for like 10 seconds, and then finally opens. So yeah, there's that. The mobile app's been great. Mobile app is also pretty slow though, and it's partially due to the car. The car has an issue of waking. Typically, when you have an EV, it'll disconnect the high voltage battery when it's below 25% or something. That's what I've seen, at least when it's parked. Or Lightning does it every time, but it makes sense. It's push to start. For these, every time I get out, it disconnects the high voltage battery. Great for not having any phantom drain, but terrible for when I want to actually execute a command. Turn on the AC, and the car's like, no. It'll try to wake up, and then it'll just fail. Unlock the doors. It'll try to wake up, it'll fail, and then finally unlock the doors eventually. It takes forever. It's embarrassingly slow. So please fix that. It works really good sometimes when the car is awake. It's like instantaneous, but when it's not awake, he's asleep. And I've been using another site, shout out to Rivian Roamer, which gives even deeper insights than what that app does currently. You can see efficiency numbers. I can look at my configuration, deep dive on my configuration, and many more things that are there or already coming soon. Chad, who designed that site, is a coding wizard. So if you have a Rivian, definitely check that out. It's super cool. I have it built in on my phone now as like a web app because I use it so often, more than my actual Rivian app sometimes. So I love that. And speaking of him, the community itself has been just so good. Love this thing. The community was also a part of the reason I got this car. It sounds weird, but I like to be around like-minded people. And Rivian people are cool because they're just car people that have Rivians. And that's cool. They go adventuring, they go off-roading, they do all types of stuff. Yep, they're cool. So, yeah, all in all, I love the car. Now, this kind of the conclusion, I'd say, but it takes me to the thought of what I will do post-lease. So this is a leased vehicle, and I will have it until 2027. And my goal for that was so I can buy a Suburban EV afterwards, and maybe buy this out at the end. Only reason I'm reconsidering that now are two really big reasons. Reason one, audio, obviously. And reason two, I'm hoping that they don't, in 3 years, we're not left in the dust like, hardware 3 owners were for Tesla, because that's what happened to me, and I was pretty disappointed about that. And I hope that doesn't happen with this. Then Gen 2 is great, but I'm hoping that they don't forget about us Gen 2 owners, 3-4 years from now. This is kind of my replacement, my interim replacement for a Suburban. Where is it? There it is. There's a Suburban right there. And a GMT 900. GMT 800, sorry. But yeah, it needs to... I just want to make sure that longevity-wise, I know the hardware itself will last very long, but I want to make sure that Rivian themselves continue to support the hardware, so we don't have a Tesla Hardware 3 situation again. It's too early to call, obviously, but just having dealt with that in one car, I don't want to do it in another car. So I'm not sure if I'm going to buy out the lease yet. When I got the car, it was heck yes, I am. But now I'm actually kind of torn. So time will tell for that. Another plane flying by. But yeah, time will tell on what I decide to do with it post lease. But I do plan to adventure in this many more miles. So I am very excited to have this car, and I love this car. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Do you have a Rivian? Gen 1, Gen 2, dual motor, tri-motor, quad motor? What do you like about it? Or if you're looking at one, does this video help you in getting one, or help you decide if you're going to get one or not get one? I love this car. It does have its issues, but I'm still glad to have it rather than not have it. So, all in all, good. Definitely good for 1 year. It's improved hugely in 1 year. So, looking forward to seeing what next year brings. Thank you guys for watching, and hopefully I will see you in the next video soon.